let's introduce our guest speaker, Zorina Aliada. So at this stage, Zorina, please go ahead and tell us your story and what is your background and your professional questions, professional background, sorry.
Sure. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Thanks a lot for having me. My name is Orina Aliata, and my background is very much IT. I'm a total geek through and through. I've graduated as a computer science engineer, and I worked in IT as a developer for many years. But then I moved to business analysis and project management, and went and got a master in business administration as well. I've spent most of my career in the financial industry, and I've also done some government consulting just because I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and that's just what people do here. And in the last 6 years or so, I have focused on machine learning and data science projects specifically. And as I was working with this kind of teams, I realized that you need to develop specific strategies to deliver on these projects because they are not like regular software development, which I had done before. They have specific challenges, specific works, and I just became really passionate about this and trying to, help companies really deliver on results on this type of projects. So I absolutely love machine learning and AI, and I can, hopefully share some of the things that I like about and that attract me to this. And I feel very lucky to be able to work in this domain.
Thank you, Zarina. So the one thing that I think would be great to cover as we get to know you is maybe a little bit more about yourself and anything that you're doing outside of AI and ML. As exciting as it is, I'm sure you have a lot of other things that you're doing. And I think when I talked to you, you mentioned doing some volunteering work, which you're really passionate about. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So first off, I do have a personal life. I have a family, a husband, a son, and lots of pets, too many. And what I like to do outside of work is I write poetry and fiction. My books are on Amazon. I'm currently writing a book about a robot girl who doesn't know she's a robot. So, speaking of how machine learning really affects my life. But one thing I really liked writing was a small nonfiction series that's available on Amazon. It's called Get IT or Get It. It's a pun. And these are booklets that I wrote for people who want to get into IT, but don't necessarily feel like they have the right educational background for it. It's just there's so many jobs right now in IT that it's easier than before to get into an entry-level position. So this series is helping folks, giving them the information to get started. And one booklet actually is specifically about starting as a data scientist in a very simple, plain English, how you can get started and how you can figure out if it's the right job for you. And I've also have the Get It series is available as a Udemy course. And I also have a Udemy course on project management for machine learning projects. Speaking of volunteering, I do volunteer at my job with Girls Who Code programs and also with two really awesome organizations. One is Women in Tech. I'm sure many have heard of it, where I get to mentor others specifically who want to do machine learning and AI. And then another organization is the Zanta Club, which is an international charity that stands for women's rights in general. And here in Fairfax County, we focus on fundraising to get money for scholarships, and then we offer those scholarships to young women who study STEM at local universities.
Let's start it then, Zorina. For someone who doesn't know what AI and machine learning is, so for someone who's not familiar, how would you best define it and describe it?
Sure. Well, I can start with a joke that's going around on LinkedIn. They say if it's written in Python, it's probably machine learning. If it's written in PowerPoint, it's probably AI. And that just means that AI is a very the broader concept of making machines mimic human intelligence, right? So it's a lot of what you see in the sci-fi movies, and you read about those cool robots that hang out with people and make those kind of decisions. We're not quite there yet, but we are definitely on the way. One example of AI is probably self-driving cars. That's like the closest I would think that comes to that concept, which is we expect the cars to really figure out and mimic the human decision, right, as they drive. But the AI is just a broad concept, and it's not as much found in practice yet. However, machine learning is a part of AI, right? And it's made up of a bunch of algorithms that can be used to find patterns and optimize specific outcomes. So when you hear talk about predicting things, that's probably machine learning. And what machine learning does is create models. So if you hear models, if you hear predicting, they're probably referring to machine learning. And I just want to say all machine learning is AI, but not all AI is machine learning. I know there's a lot of confusion and people use the terms interchangeably. In a tiny bit more detail, machine learning is really what companies use right now. This is what they actually use day in, day out, things that you probably already see that you just don't know machine learning is behind it. For example, intelligent chatbots. A couple of months ago, I was trying to buy a car. I spent like 20 minutes talking with, I thought, a person at a dealership. Turns out it was a chatbot. It was really good. I didn't realize it was a robot. I thought it was, a person. This is machine learning behind that, right? I've worked in the financial industry. Fraud is a big deal, and reducing fraud is definitely conducive to using machine learning. Fending cyber attacks. Again, there's a lot of machine learning going into trying to keep us all safe. And for the simple thing, just a better experience when you go to a website, Netflix, Amazon, right? They will give you personalized recommendation. That is machine learning behind that. So again, machine learning is used so much now by almost, I think the latest IDC study said 9 in 10 companies use some kind of machine learning. So that's how much this is now used everywhere. I can also go a tiny bit further. Very simplistically put, machine learning consists of developing models. So let's say that you have a website that sells umbrellas and you want to sell more umbrellas. So you want to optimize that outcome, right? What people will buy from you. So what you would do using machine learning is get all of the data that you can, all of the transaction data, all of the order data that you ever had, data on your customers, get all of the data and start analyzing it using machine learning algorithms and try to find those patterns that eventually led to successful outcomes, which is buying more umbrellas. Machine learning will give you that insight. It will give you, the algorithms will give you that kind of, I don't know, maybe you'll find that if it's Wednesday evening and a full moon, this type of umbrella sells better, right? It's the kind of insights that you just don't know that you might find in the data. But eventually, if you look enough, you will find those patterns that will enable you to optimize your outcome and sell more umbrellas. I hope that helps.
No, that's a great explanation, and I hope that everybody who's listening, I hope that it really made it a lot clearer what the AI and machine learning is for them. So looks like we have our first question here from Ellen. What is a day like as an AI and machine learning a program manager? What is a day like for you?
Sure. Well, my day is usually awesome. And that's because I do what I really love. So I'm lucky that way. But I start my day by taking a really long walk with my dog. That just clears my head and gets me ready for everything. I try to do the admin tasks that I have before 9 a.m. I'm a morning person, so I will do like expense approvals and vacations and whatnot, all of those kind of things. During the day, my main function for my job is to support and grow my program. So a lot of my day is spent talking to people about, improving our processes, how do we do, how we're doing it, simplifying, innovate and simplify. I think it's like my motto, trying to simplify the way we work, automate a lot of the tasks that we don't want people to spend time on, creating frameworks, templates, defining best practices for my team. And I have a stand-up meeting with my team, which happens several times a week, and we discuss pain points, blockers, impediments, what's stopping them from doing their work, dependencies with other teams, and then I can take those and go and try and solve them or escalate them or make them into risks, whatever, regular project management type thing. We also celebrate successes and try to have some fun as a team, for building the team. And a big part of my job outside of all this is to report the status of the program. So provide that visibility for upper management into what are we doing, how are we doing it, how are things going, are we going to be able to achieve our goals for the year, right? So all that tracking, measuring, reporting, really interesting metrics, go deep into that kind of data. I gotta say that I really like this stuff. So I'm always trying to come up with new metrics and new things to show, because I think it's important that it enables our leadership to make the right decisions about our program, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank